What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we're going to jump back over to DC Comics, and we're going to begin covering Batman Black Mirror. This is a very important book because this is the first story arc that Scott Snyder wrote when it came to the Batman character. Of course, we know he is known as one of the best Batman writers of all time. And this again, guys, was the first story arc he did for the Batman character. Well, guys, remember, this is also Dick Grayson Batman, not Bruce Wayne Batman. But if you do like today's comic book video, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. But I do hope you enjoy today's video. Now, to begin today's video, we pick up with Dick Grayson narrating about what life was like being part of the circus. How when they went to small towns, they didn't do anything too crazy for their circus tricks. When they went to big towns, of course they did some high level crazy stuff. Except when it came to Gotham, they had no choice to do anything they can that would please the crowd. Everything is allowed. While he's telling us this, we see this young boy who is being bullied by, of course, his bully. Except when the two of them get to the school pool, we see the boy being bullied turn into what looks like a childlike version of Killer Croc and attacks the other child. The story switches over to Dick Grayson, where we are reminded about a few things. Bruce Wayne did die after Final Crisis, but by this point he has came back. Except Bruce left Gotham again to build Batman Incorporated, leaving Dick Grayson to be Batman in Gotham. Also, Tim Drake is known as Red Robin now. But we also learn that lately Dick Grayson has not been able to sleep lately. This is coming off the idea how much being Batman and being in Gotham is affecting him. But we proceed on with the story when Alfred tells Dick Grayson that Jim Gordon has arrived at the new crime lab waiting for Dick Grayson. At this point, Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, and Wayne Enterprise have made a new crime lab for the GCPD. Except the GCPD have not been using it at all. But today is the day it has to be used, because Jim Gordon tells us that the boy from earlier, Dana Redford, had apparently in his locker the chemical product that made Killer Croc be, well, Killer Croc, is what the young boy took. The new crime lab is used to tell both Dick Grayson and Jim Gordon it is indeed the same chemical product. Now the question is, where did a young boy get something like this from? So of course, this means that Dick Grayson must change into Batman and go to investigate the home of the young boy. We learn the boy only has a mother and she has been traveling a lot lately. That the butler is the one who is raising the young boy on his own. So to Batman, his investigation should start with the butler. Now, Dick Grayson feels bad for the butler because he kind of reminds Dick Grayson about Alfred, a butler who had to raise a child on his own and basically become like the child's father. So seeing the child in the hospital thanks to taking the chemical, it tore the butler apart. Now, before Batman is able to gather enough information about where the child could get the drug from, the butler is killed off by the young child's mother. She has come home. But we can see here that she is not acting normal. Something is wrong with her. The problem is that before Dick Grayson is able to get any information out of her, she jumps out of the window and dies. But Dick Grayson can see something on the back of her neck. We learn that the little patch Dick Grayson found is technology that the Mad Hatter used to control people, well, more of brainwash them. But you have Jim Gordon bring up the name of Colin Beck. The reason why is because that man was an officer who was the one who was working on gathering evidence for both cases. So it is strange how both the chemical from Killer Croc and the tech from Mad Hatter that was gathered by the same officer back out on the streets again. And so you have Dick Grayson decide to go pay this man a visit and figure out who he is working for. So Batman goes over there and breaks into the home of Colin Beck's girlfriend. Batman at first just looking for clues, but almost ambushed by Colin Beck, but Batman is able to take him down and leads into interrogating the guy. And so you have Batman begin to ask questions about who's behind all of the old villain stuff being back on the streets, where you don't have Colin Beck give out an actual name, but more of this mysterious guy who is going by the name The Dealer. He sells this stuff to a society called Mirrorhouse, who goes around and collects villains' old stuff and sells them back on the black market. Before Batman is able to ask more questions, Colin Beck is killed by some kind of plant growing out of his mouth, letting us and Dick Grayson know that the dealer is always watching. The next day, we see Batman chasing down William Rhodes, who is known to the world as the top producer for high-end metal, usually seen at charities. But Oracle, who is Barbara Gordon, she was not Batgirl at the time, she finds out for Batman that William has some connections to Mirrorhouse, meaning that this man has sold old tech of villains to Mirrorhouse. So Batman is trying to get answers from him. But the chase down leads to William Rhodes crashing his car, catching on fire and dying. And so there goes their top lead. Except when you have Oracle, a super genius when it comes to computers, she was able to make it seem like that William never died. He is still alive and out shopping at the moment. The reason why they are trying to paint a picture of him being alive is so Dick Grayson can pretend to be him and go to one of Mirrorhouse meetings. Oracle just has to break a few more files, but the files she did break open, they're all leading to dead ends. This is also more of Barbara Gordon talking to Dick Grayson about his problems because they used to date and they are still close friends, just telling him that Alfred earlier was upset that Dick Grayson has not decorated the new penthouse. Barbara has diagnosed it must be because Dick Grayson is from the circus and they are always mobile. Just a small conversation between the two characters. We then get a page where we see Tim Drake dropping by the new Batcave to hand over Dick Grayson Lucius Fox's new technology, which we will see in Scott Snyder's run, the face mask that can change someone's facial appearance. Of course, Dick Grayson will use over time. Then Dick Grayson goes to meet up with Jim Gordon at the usual spot, except when he gets there, he is greeted by Lieutenant Bullock, who gives more information over to Batman about Mirrorhouse. He heard from some people that Mirrorhouse goes around to different locations that are abandoned. The reason why to keep the police, Batman, and other heroes off their trail, because we learn that they don't just work out of Gotham, but also Star City, Central City, and Metropolis. Luckily, Barbara Gordon tells Dick Grayson that she has the next location and William Rhodes' invite to the next event. So with Dick Grayson getting there, of course, using the new face mask to change his facial appearance, using William Rhodes' invite to get inside the building, he is handed a face mask and also a number to use in the auction. Then when he is inside, of course, he sees a crowd of people letting him know how big this crazy society really is, and he is also greeted by the leader of all of this on stage. The leader's name is Etini Golenberg. I know I just butchered that name. And of course, it is a fake name that he is using, but he explains the reason why everyone has face masks is because there is poison gas in the room. The face mask is there to keep the gas away from them, but he mentions that some of the masks don't actually work, that the gas attacks the mind slowly, but once it does, you will start to see things differently. Proceeds on to tell how he has been over the world selling villains old stuff, but being in Gotham is so great because of how crazy the city is. He then begins the auction by showing off the crowbar that Joker used to kill Jason Todd, or really beat Jason Todd back in the death of a family. Before Dick can think about that, that's when he realized that his mask is the one of the masks that is not working. Of course, Etienne Goldberg knows that Dick Grayson is not William Rose, so he tells the crowd that, hey, Batman is here, which of course, this is a crowd of people who are crazy about buying things from both heroes and villains. He tells the crowd to rip Batman apart because these people love the idea of holding on to Batman bones and other stuff. Creepy people. Now I want to cut back to what I said earlier to fit into this section of the story. Remember how I said the poison gas attacks people's mind, so at this moment it is attacking Dick Grayson's mind. At first it may seem like that these people are normal looking, but as the fight goes on to stay alive, they begin to morph in front of him, start to look like strong looking creatures. And so of course, he knows sooner or later he has to escape before he is taken by them, which he is able to make it out. Now when he wakes up, he thinks he made it out safely. He is even greeted by Barbara Gordon, who talks to him in a way that something serious had happened. Of course, she tells them that when they found him, the people of Mirrorhouse were eating away at the legs of Dick Grayson, that they were able to save him, but he lost his legs. Then you have Barbara try to attack Dick Grayson, making it seem like that there is something wrong with her, that she has also gone crazy and he could be killed off by her. But of course, that last part was a dream. He is okay and he has his legs. Now you have Barbara mention that the toxin he was hit with was something they have not seen in years. It could have been a stronger version of one of the many villains who use toxins to mess with people. Just like Bruce, Dick doesn't want to rest and let his body heal after dealing with something that serious. Instead, he wants to chase down Etienne before he is able to get away, because Etienne did mention that he was going to leave in the morning. Of course, now it is morning, so Dick Grayson has to change into Batman and go after him. So of course he goes after Etienne, but remember that this man was collecting old villain stuff and selling it, so it makes sense that he would have something up his sleeve, which of course he does. He has the formula that turned Robert Kirkland into the Man-Bat. So what do we see? Another guy becoming Man-Bat to fight against Batman on this plane. The toxin that hit Batman earlier is still slowly affecting him, so he is slower and he is seeing some messed up things, and this toxin could kill him off. Luckily for him, training with Batman when he was younger, he is able to overcome all of that and actually be able to take down Etienne. But sadly, in the most lamest way, Etienne escapes because a piece of cargo that was on the plane knocked Batman out and he was able to get away, since Batman does not have another way to continue to follow him. The story ends with more of Dick Grayson going back home and finally agreeing with Alfred about decorating the place more, which he does. And we see him putting up some stuff, but he's also thinking about how crazy this city is. Also the fact that someone was able to bring the weapon that was used to beat Jason Todd back into the world. And he tells Alfred to just throw the weapon away into the river. And this is where we are going to end today's video. Now, next week, we are going to continue our coverage over Black Mirror with the next storyline with the return of someone special to Jim Gordon. And you will see in next week's video. So please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoy today's video.